There we go. It has begun. There's the unveil? Probably, yeah. The portal had issues. Here we go. We're late, but better late than never. There were some issues with the UBRS portal. The orb worked immediately, the portal did not. So it actually took some time for the portal to work, which is quite annoying. Again, top left we have Mythos Tank POV, top right Tribe, melee DPS, bottom left Tilt Caster, and bottom right we have Meph Healer. Here we go. First boss Razorgore, of course. Fight is pretty simple. One guy has to mind control Razorgore, and all those eggs that you see, Razorgore is gonna have to run around and use one of his ability to destroy the eggs. And after all the eggs are destroyed, Razorgore will turn into a proper boss, and then you have to kill him. He has a con flag and whatever, no big deal, it's pretty easy. It's just that the whole fight takes a long time. I know there are a lot of people past Razorgore now, because we're like 7 minutes behind because of the portal thing. Obviously when Horde controls BRM, it's not very easy to get through. Because Blizzard forgot to turn on the portal inside UBS the same time they turned on the orb. But that's okay. Can we get only one screen? No, we'll have 4 screens, dude. If you want to watch this, you're going to have to watch it on full screen. Follow it with me. Isn't that the exact rate frames you flamed in AV bottom right now? Yeah, but we had them bigger, dude. We had them bigger. Also, as a healer, that's normal. But as a warlock, not so normal. 4 screens assault. Well, that's what we're gonna do, bro. Stream that shit on your fucking wall with your projector, and then every partition will be as big as a normal screen. Is this 4-player Mario Kart 64? Yep. Thanks, MLG. Alright, so basically we have mobs spawning in every corner. I'd love for Tilt's quality to be a little higher, but that's just what we have to deal with. Any Apes streaming? No. I'm gonna be giving a couple of Warlock tips because I'm a Warlock player and people have asked me to give some Warlock tips even though I'm not actually playing. So if you want to maximize your DPS, you're just gonna do Searing Pain on the little orcs. If you're in a guild that has reasonably high DPS, the orcs aren't gonna live enough for you to cast Shadow Bolts on them. If the dragons spawn, you obviously want to pump Shadow Bolts into them, but the orc HP is pretty low. The melees you can probably get off a Shadow Bolt. The casters, no way. You're gonna have to kill them with Searing Pain. Why aren't you in the sun? Because the Warlocks are shit for speedruns. And obviously Shadow Burn on cooldown. That's probably your biggest DPS increase if you wanna do well in phase 1 of Razorgore. Teach me how to not pull aggro and wipe raid. Chill with DPS, bro. Is this live? Yes, it is, dude. Not pronouncing melee correctly? I pronounce it however the fuck I want. You think DJ Khaled pronounces that shit correct? He's sitting right next to me. He doesn't give a fuck. Why is Zolpi not inside? Is he not? He should be. Oh, that's because he accidentally zoned out. You guys want Shadow Priest? No. We run a Weaver, but not in the World First rate. Everyone's a proper healer. Apes gonna be World First Nefarian. No, we're already 7 minutes behind, so the World First race is probably already over for us. Let's be honest. You can't catch up 7 minutes. But it's alright. Maybe we'll get the fastest overall clear time. How many rates are going for what? I don't know. All of them. Why did you get 7 minutes behind? Because Blizzard disabled the UBRS portal, but enabled the orb outside of UBRS. And then only after 7 minutes they enabled the portal inside. Top left is kind of blurry. Is a highlight scroll to for a stream. Top left should not be blurry. We can put it a little higher. Don't mind. It's probably better if we keep it a little lower though. Yeah, it's probably... With like 4 streams, it gets a little... Multi-Twitch can't handle it. Top right? Oh. I think that's just Tribe's quality. It's the same with bottom left, right? It's a little bit blurry, but that's just how it is. How long do you think AQ40 Nax will take to clear? AQ40 maybe 40 minutes, 30 minutes, and Nax maybe 1.5 hours. Oh, the eggs are almost down. I think there's 1 more left or 2 more left. And now Razorgore will turn into a proper boss. He has like a fire AoE that in most guilds will be line of sighted where the orcs spawn. But in Apes we're probably just gonna eat the AoE and burn the boss down. There's the conflag. Incapacitates the tank. That's probably the one point where you can pull aggro as a warlock. Boom, Razorgore dead. Next. A chance you can read the lineup. I mean, I could read the lineup, but what do the names mean, right? It's all about the classes. We got 3 hunters, 4 rogues, 5 priests, 4 paladins, 2 warlocks, 4 mages, and the rest is warriors. No one looting? No. In the world first race, you don't loot. Alright. So basically, Vael is actually a good guy, but he's being controlled by Nefarian. Turns hostile. He places a debuff on everyone in the raid, which gives you infinite mana, infinite energy, infinite rage. And he starts at 30%, and you basically have to burn him down as fast as possible. Or everyone in the raid will die. He sometimes, or periodically, gives people a bomb. That bomb will reduce your HP to 0 very slowly, and once you reach 0, you explode, and everyone around you dies. That's why if you have the bomb, you run out of the raid, hide somewhere, and die. Also, while you have the bomb, all your spells turn instant and do more damage. So it's pretty nice to have as a caster. The consequence is you will die at the end of the bomb. And Vael is down. Just like that, easy peasy, no bomb on Mythos, that's what you want to have. If you had a bomb on Mythos, that would be a catastrophe. Because then you'd have a dead tank that you have to res, he won't have world buffs. And you will lose time. Yeah, Vael is a joke, dude. If you're overgeared, Vael is a fucking joke. Now, these packs can be quite tricky. There's 2 casters that need to be slept. And a bunch of melees. The captain will make all the other mobs stronger. So usually you kite them out of the group. But in Apes, we just cleave everything down. One of them has a pretty nasty debuff, which causes all melee attacks against you. So whenever a mob hits you, it causes AoE damage to the entire raid. So you, as a dispeller, like a priest or a paladin, you have to be very careful to dispel those things immediately. Let me have a sip here from DJ Khaled's water. That's the lance buffs. They don't stack with Valentine shit. It's the same buff, just a different icon. Where's PayPV? He's not streaming. Alright, Suppression Room. Now that is probably the big roadblock for a lot of raids. Suppression room basically makes you really slow, can't cast for shit, can't attack for shit, and there's a bunch of mobs that immediately respawn after you kill them. The traps that you can see, like these little pillars, they have to be disabled by rogues so you can pass, because if you get too close you get the debuff and then you're pretty much useless. Now, in a slow raid you'd pull stuff, you know, slowly with a hunter pet or something, and then you'd kill him in the beginning until everything's dead, and then you move forward. In Apes you just death ball through, because we don't have time for that shit. There you go. Time to death ball through. Need all the rogues to... Now, if you look at the... Yeah, there you go. Everything is slow motion now because their whole raid got hit by the trap. Very bad, actually. That's a significant slowdown. Ooh, they pulled the entire room from above as well. That is not a conventional strat. If that happens on a normal raid, that is an immediate wipe. You're basically talking about pulling the entire suppression room at once. Oh my god. That looks extremely dangerous. No one casualty, no big deal. It's just one rogue, can be battle res. I guess now you can just run through, no big deal. That was scary. They got hit by a trap again. Might just got hit by a trap. Who's the druid steering? That's Meph. So again, top right is Tribe. Melee DPS. Top left is Mythos Tank. Bottom left, Tilt Mage. Bottom right, Meph Druid. Alright, those are the rest of the little whelplings. Now all those whelplings have a different color and they're immune to the respective school of the color they are. So the blue ones are immune to frost, you know, red ones are immune to fire, etc. It's no big deal though. If you all just AoE at the same time, everything will die. The big dragonkins have a nasty flame strike. If you stack too much with the melees, you can get AoE'd pretty hard, so be careful with that. I'm not actually sure if you can counterspell them or Curse of Tongues them on Classic. I guess we'll have to have a better look. There is a Curse of Tongues on the caster. And it looks like the Flame Strike is not affected. That's interesting. Anyway, at the end of the room we have the third boss, Broodlord. Now, on the right here to the walls, after every section, there's usually a safe spot where you can chill, heal up, drink, and whatever between the respawns of the whelps. In Apes, there's no downtime really. You just have to run through if you want to be fast. Alright, time for Broodlord. He has a nasty Mortal Strike which can kill your tank. He has a Blast Wave which reduces aggro. And otherwise there's not much to it. I guess that's whatever. It's looking good. That's where you can probably pull aggro the most as a warlock, if you blast too hard. And it can get quite nasty if you pull Broodlord into the casters and then he blasts wave. Now you have to be careful after you kill the boss. The gate opens, and if you're standing in front of the gate, the trash will pull, and that will usually cause a wipe. So make sure that the casters, if you see in the bottom left, the casters are standing at the wall and not at the gate. And the melees will stand where the corpse is and not at the gate. Anyone who stands at the gate, if the gate is open, will pull the trash. Now these lap packs, there's a bunch of ways to tank the goblins. Either fire resistance tanks or mages will tank them just by AoEing and stuff. They throw a lot of dynamites, so if someone in the raid pulls aggro somehow and they're stacked with a lot of other people, they will wipe the raid. Moo dead? Yeah, it's fine. You got battle res, no big deal. Now the warlocks that are like the warlock mobs, no big deal really. They summon a Felguard if you don't kill them fast enough. The Felguards can be quite annoying, but it's not that big of a deal. It's mostly just a time waster. And obviously the Dragonkins have an affinity, so they'll be vulnerable to one school and resistant to other schools. And what that school is random, so you're just gonna have to pump a lot of spells into them and see what hits the hardest. Who's the rest of the streamer? It's Meph, dude. Mythos in the top left, Tribe top right, Tilt bottom left, and Meph bottom right. And his stream is MEphX. Alright, Firemaw time. Now Firemaw is the nastiest of all three dragons. The other two are just free, but Firemaw can be a little tricky sometimes with aggro and whatever. He has a flame buffet, which you have to hide for if you're a caster or whatever, because you don't want to stack him too much, or you will die. The boss should die fast enough for the apes not to have to hide. I think we should be able to just pump the boss and kill him before the flame buffet becomes a problem. But usually just stack 4, 5, 6 stacks and then you hide until they expire and then you go back in. Positioning plays a huge role here because the casters, the melee and the ranged have to have a different positioning. Because obviously the healers have to be in position to heal the tank and not get hit by the flame buffet. The casters need to be in range to kill Flamegor, but not get hit by the flame breath. And now Mythos is dead, which is a pretty big deal actually, because he lost all his world boss. And now see, he has a wing buffet, which must be taunted by a third tank ideally to the side, and then he wing buffets the third tank, which reduces aggro, and then he goes back straight to the tank. If you tank the wing buffet as the main tank, you will lose threat, and then it will probably go to a melee or a caster and wipe the raid. Firemaw's dead. The casters had like 10-ish buffs, debuffs, which is not too bad. You can tank that with greater fire protection potions and whatever. But usually at 5 or 6 you go out and what's it called? You go out and let them reset. Our stream's on delay? No, we're just late because the portal was disabled for us. When will they collect loot? After the raid. Now these Dragonkins, same as the other guys, each one has an affinity. The big one has a war stomp that hurts quite a bit, so you don't want to tank them inside the small ones. The small ones can be cleaved, it's no big deal. Start 7 minutes later and you almost catch up before us. It's whatever, dude. It's whatever. Matter. Can you take magic? I don't know if you can do it on classic. I don't know. Did you kill all hordes before entering back in lair? Yeah, we had to. Because the portal in UBS was disabled for some reason. How many bosses left? There's Ebonroc, Flamegor, Chromaggus, and Nefarian. 4 bosses left. 2 of those bosses are free, even for the casual raids. Ebonroc especially will probably be the easiest boss for any raid. Now, these stairs that you see right now on the top left, this will probably be the trickiest for all people in terms of trash pulling, because there's a trash pack immediately to the right of the stairs. And then there's a trash pack immediately to the left, which they are fighting right now. And then there's a trash pack in the front right, which you can see in the top right of the stream. Now, the front right is not a big issue, but if you get too close to the right where you're pulling the left pack, you're gonna have 2 packs, and that's, in most cases, an immediate wipe. Does tongues work on the casters? Yeah, but you usually don't have to worry about tongues on casters. They die very fast. So this pack that they pulled just now, this will probably be the trickiest pack of all, because the positioning is a little weird. The stairs can break line of sight, and the dynamite from the goblins can just blow up any target immediately. So you need to be extremely careful while pulling. Now Tilda's playing Frost. There's no point in playing Fire and Black Lair because most of the shit is fire immune. Alright, so there's one more lab pack and then one more Dragonite. Dragonite. Pokemon. One more Drake pack before Ebonroc. Ebonroc is pretty much free loot, and then Flamegor immediately after, also free loot. So that shouldn't be a problem. Is only got the thing classic? We'll find out. But probably, yeah. I don't know. I don't see why not. Yeah, some of them have lags. It's just tiny, like, stutters. Are you benched? Yeah. Alright, so now we got 3 of those. You have to split them up because they have the thunderclap. Hurts a lot. Again, all of these have one vulnerability to an element that you have to find out by just blasting them and seeing what sticks. You also have a spinning ability on the tank, which renders them, I think it's incapacitated or whatever. They're basically stuck in place and can't do anything, and then the aggro will switch. So in most cases, or pretty much in all cases, you will have to have additional warriors sitting in the ranged pack, being ready with a shield to taunt the guy as soon as the tank gets stunned. So like Mitos, for example, on the top left, he was stunned right now. He's doing damage to his own people. That's what the guy's ability is. Obviously, melee have to move away, and then the aggro is lost, so other warriors have to pick it up. Alright, time for the boss. Ebonroc is pretty much free loot. All he does is a wing buffet and a flame breath and a mark of Ebonroc, which causes the target that has the debuff to heal him. So if Mitos has mark of Ebonroc and Ebonroc attacks Mitos, like right now, he will heal Ebonroc. So whenever that happens, another tank has to taunt off of Mitos, and then you just rotate tanks based on who has and who does not have the mark. Obviously, the one thing that can go wrong here is if a caster pulls aggro and Ebonroc turns around and does a flame breath on the entire raid. That will kill the raid because his flame breath is a shadow flame, which means if you don't have the Onyxia cloak on, you will die. Alright, next boss, Flamegor. Also pretty much free loot. Flamegor has an AoE ability if he's frenzied. You can get rid of the frenzy by tranquilizing shotting him with a hunter. Otherwise, not much to it. Pretty much same as Ebonroc. He has a flame breath, which is a shadow flame, and he has a wind buffet. No big deal. These two bosses are a nice, loot pinata after you've had to go through the trouble of killing Vael, killing Broodlord, killing Firemaw. 3 reasonably difficult bosses for new raids. Then you get some nice 2 free loot bosses. How many hourglass do you need for Chromaggus? A lot. Every tank needs them, couple healers need them, ideally all of them. How do we know who's in first place for World First? No one knows until we check logs and shit after, or streams I guess, and check timestamps. But we started 7 minutes late because our orb was disabled, our portal was disabled. Meanwhile, progress was already in. So, unlucky, but that's okay. Alright, Chromaggus time. Now Chromaggus, pretty tricky. He has a bunch of debuffs that he does regularly on the raid. Disease, poison, magic, and bronze. Bronze is only dispellable with the hourglass sand. And if you have all the debuffs, right? If you have poison, disease, magic, curse, and bronze, you will turn into an enemy. You will turn into a dragon, and you will start killing the raid, and you'll have like increased HP and increased damage or whatever. So unless you focus that guy down immediately, it's probably a wipe. Now Chromaggus has also multiple abilities for himself. He has a frost burn, a fire breath, a poison thing, and a time lapse. Now the time lapse basically renders everything in his line of sight immovable, and everyone who does not have a time lapse will get aggro. And obviously all the different debuffs, the poison stuff and magic and whatever, they all have different effects. The blue one, for example, burns mana. The green one, I don't know what it does. The curse one reduces healing. And the red one, I think that's the disease one. If he kills you while you have the red one, he heals himself. So a combination of red plus time lapse can be fatal. Because if he kills you, he just heals himself and then wipes the raid. What's the rate of arcane missiles? Alright, that's the next ability of Chromaggus. He, like those dragons that we've seen before, switches his vulnerability every 45 seconds. So every 45 seconds, he'll be vulnerable to either nature, shadow, fire, frost, or arcane. And depending on what he's vulnerable to, you have to cast that school of spells. Because he'll be resistant to everything else. If he's shadow, all the warlocks will be blasting. If he's fire, you'll be blasting Searing Pain, Soulfire, whatever, and the mages will be blasting Fireball. Alright, down goes Chromaggus. Really clean kill. Right now, it looks like a very, very clean raid. I think we are ahead, but no one knows for sure until we check logs and shit after. But it's looking very promising. Is it safe to spam Searing with double threat? Not always, no. You have to be careful. Alright, phase 1 of Nefarian, basically. Last boss now. Last boss. We're so close. First phase, there's 2 entrances that you can see on the bottom left and bottom right. Sorry. Yeah, bottom left and bottom right is the right entrance. Top right, top left is the left entrance. Now, out of these entrances are more dragons that just come out. those dragons have a vulnerability as well, just like all the other dragons. And they have an ability. Fire does like flame breath or something. The green ones have like an AoE or whatever. It's like all the abilities are not that big of a deal. But low DPS rates can get overwhelmed by the spawn rate. Yeah, a class call will decide this. If we had a paladin class call, the world first is probably lost. But we won't know for sure until we check logs and timestamps of streams, etc. Alright. Phase 1's almost over. All the dragons are dead. Nefarian will spawn where Mythos is on the top left. He's gonna have to be tanked there. All the people will move up. Start DPSing him. Nefarian has a couple abilities. He has a curse on the boss, which is a mortal strike. He has a flame breath, which is a shadow flame. Obviously you need the Onyxia cloak again. And he has a bunch of class call abilities. Now every class call is different. For priest, for example, if you get a priest class call, the priest heals will do damage instead. So the priests are gonna have to be very careful not to kill the tank by healing him. Warrior class call spawns infernals that will attack you. Mage class call randomly sheeps people in your raid, so you have to get out of range. Hunter class call destroys your weapon. Looks like Nefarian is flying away. Interesting. Oh, he's coming back now. Alright, that's different than private servers. Anyway, warrior class call basically forces the warrior into berserker stance and he cannot switch out of berserker stance. That will probably be the most lethal class call for your raid. Because suddenly the warrior takes 20% more damage because he's out of defensive and into berserker. And he can't do shit like shield block and whatever. Druid class call is forced into cat. Rogue class call will teleport all the rogues into Nefarian's hitbox, which means they can get cleaved. And Paladin class call gives Nefarian a BOP, which means all melee DPS is rendered null. Mythos is fucking shaking, dude. You should hear his voice in TeamSpeak. Class call incoming now. It is Mage. Now that is also an extremely dangerous class call. If the Mage class call hits the warrior, the tank will get sheep, the Nefarian will turn around, breath the raid, wipe. So all mages immediately have to blink out and get out of range of the tank, and anyone really. Now, phase 3 starts now, which means all the ads that you killed in phase 1 will revive and they will run to Nefarian and you have to AoE them down. Like you can see on the bottom left. And 3%. 3%. And down he goes. Is that it? Is that the world first? Is it? Question mark? No one knows. Is this it? We won't know for sure until we see timestamps of streams and logs. It's all down to stream delay, dude. It's all down to delay. Because I have 5-second delay and then every other stream that we're showing also has like 5 to 10 seconds delay. We won't know until we see the actual logs and the stream time stamps. But honestly, it was a fucking good effort. We started 7 minutes late, and we still got there.